She loved to make other people just feel beautiful. Um, she was like a rainbow. When you see it, you're excited and you just love it. And she was that person. I cried the whole way and kept reminding myself, breathe, just breathe, just breathe. I couldn't understand. I couldn't fathom this to be true.
Montgomery police call the case a death investigation. Police have not made an arrest, but say all evidence will be presented to a grand jury. Luckett says she wants justice for her daughter.
It's unbelievable. I have to fight for this for her. The nightmares of me seeing her laying there, bleeding, trying to fight for her life, and I couldn't do a thing.
Picture this: a quiet Sunday morning, the kind where the world feels soft and full of possibility. A doorbell camera catches a young woman, full of dreams, full of life, taking out the trash, faint music humming in the background like a whisper of joy. It's a simple, fleeting moment, but it's the last time she's seen alive. This is Tiana Dye's story, a 21-year-old Alabama State University student whose light was snuffed out too soon in July 2024. Tiana wasn't just a name on a headline. She was a daughter, a friend, a biochemistry major with a future that shimmered with promise. Today, we're not just mourning a tragedy, we're uncovering a mystery that's gone cold, honoring a life stolen by violence, and joining a family's relentless fight for answers that still haven't come. Because Tiana deserves justice, and her story demands to be heard. In Montgomery, Alabama, Alabama State University pulsed with ambition. It was a place where futures were forged. And in that crowd stood Tiana Dye, a 21-year-old biochemistry major who turned heads wherever she went. Tiana wasn't just a student, she was a force. Her smile could light up a room, her kindness, a gift to everyone she met. They called her the Chocolate Princess, and she wore that title like a crown. She had big dreams. Dermatology was her target, helping people feel good in their skin. Online, she shared beauty tips, her passions spilling over. Tiana wasn't just chasing a career, she was building a legacy. Her mind was sharp. Dean's List, she owned it. Princeton came calling, but she said no. Alabama State was her choice, her home. It was where her heart beat strongest. Friends saw her as a spark, always lifting others. A laugh here, a kind word there. Tiana was vibrant, driven, unforgettable. Her future stretched out wide, full of promise. But then, something no one expected happened. Tiana Dye thought she'd scored the perfect setup, a shared house near campus, owned by a professor, close to class, affordable, a college student's dream. It started out great, friends under one roof, late-night chats, shared goals, but then one roommate flipped the script. She stopped pitching in. No rent, no cleaning, no respect. Tiana and the others watched her behavior spiral. She'd strut around half-dressed with guests over, swipe food, makeup, even Tiana's stuff. It wasn't just irritating, it was creepy. And then it crossed a line. One night she snapped, lashed out at Tiana. Physically, Tiana didn't want trouble, but now she had no choice. Tiana fought back with words. She and her roommates begged the landlord for help, text after text. "This isn't right," they said. "We're not safe." But the landlord? He ignored them, even cut the troublemaker's rent. Ever had a bad roommate? Annoying, sure, but Tiana's was different. Dangerous. She was stuck, brushed off. And that house? It was turning into a pressure cooker. But one detail didn't make sense, and it was about to change everything. The Ring camera caught it all. 10:37 a.m. Tiana Dye, 21, takes out the trash. Gloves still on. A faint hum on her lips. Minutes later, her roommate steps outside. No rush, no panic. Just a calm stroll to the porch, a bag placed down, and then gone. 6 minutes later, at 10:43, emergency crews arrived. Tiana was down, her life slipping away from a critical injury. The timeline? Tight, too tight. How does chaos turn to calm in a matter of moments? Danielle Luckett, Tiana's mum, couldn't let it go. She watched that footage over and over. "It doesn't make sense," she told reporters. "My daughter wasn't the aggressor. She didn't have it in her." The roommate's story, self-defense. A fight that went too far. But that steady walk, those quiet steps, felt wrong. Tiana wasn't a fighter. She was a builder, a biochemistry major with a 3.8 GPA, a leader in the NAACP chapter, a young woman who spent her summers volunteering, her nights studying skin conditions for a future in dermatology. Her friends called her gentle, her professors called her driven. So, where was the spark that set this off? The community demanded answers. Montgomery buzzed with whispers. A young star taken too soon, and no one in custody. The police stayed quiet. Ongoing investigation, they said, but Danielle pressed harder. If it was self-defense, she asked, why didn't she stay? Why didn't she call for help?
Told me that my daughter came in with a stab wound and that they did everything they could, but they couldn't save her. Just trying to probably fight for her life. My heart breaks because I couldn't help her.
Luckett was home in Georgia while Tiana was in Montgomery attending Alabama State University. She was studying this summer to be a dermatologist and would have been a senior this fall. Luckett says her daughter lived off campus on Clanton Avenue, less than half a mile from ASU. Montgomery police tell me Tiana was found dead Sunday morning, but the circumstances remain under investigation.
We are taking the next steps trying to find information. The roommates are offering the information. The DA's office needs to get on their job.
Luckett says she knows in her heart who did it and has the Ring camera video to prove it. We've chosen not to show the accusee because right now they are not considered a suspect. But here you see police going in and out of the home after the stabbing.
There's footage of her putting the knife on the porch.
A spokesperson for ASU released this statement in part, quote, "We offer the university's condolences and prayers to the family and friends of the deceased." But Luckett says she hasn't heard from police. She's hoping that'll change so she can make arrangements in peace.
I'm going to be on them like white on rice. You are going to get justice for my daughter.
That bag on the porch, it sat there like a question mark. What was inside? Why leave it? The roommate vanished into the morning, leaving Tiana behind and a story that wouldn't hold. Every detail twisted the knot tighter. And then, a neighbor's tip cracked the silence wide open. Danielle Luckett wasn't just a grieving mother. She was a force, fueled by love, grief, and a burning need for answers. Her daughter, Tiana Dye, was gone. But Danielle, she wasn't about to let the story end there. She started with the footage, the Ring camera video, the last glimpse of Tiana alive. Danielle watched it on loop, her eyes tracing every step, every shadow. She saw her daughter, gloves on, taking out the trash. She saw the roommate walk out minutes later, calm as a summer breeze. Too calm. It didn't add up. Then came the texts, messages from Tiana and her roommates pleading with the landlord. "We're not safe," they wrote. "She's out of control." But the landlord? He brushed them off, even cut the suspect's rent. Why? Danielle couldn't shake the question. She took her fight to the police. They called it self-defense. Let the roommate go. Case closed. But Danielle saw holes, gaping ones. If it was self-defense, she asked, why didn't she stay? Why didn't she call for help? The silence from the authorities was deafening. Danielle wasn't alone. Tiana's friends, her professors, even strangers online. They rallied. They saw the same cracks in the story, the same unanswered questions, and they weren't about to let it go. She dug deeper. Neighbors whispered about odd behavior, strange visitors, a house that felt wrong long before that Sunday. Danielle collected it all, every tip, every lead. She wasn't a detective, but she was something fiercer, a mother on a mission. The community watched, waited, hoped. But weeks turned into months, and the case stayed cold. Danielle's voice grew louder. "I want justice for my daughter," she told anyone who'd listen. "I know I can't get her back, but I won't stop until the truth comes out." And then, something shifted. A tip, a crack in the wall of silence. It was small, but it was enough to change everything. The tributes kept coming. Notes, flowers, messages from strangers who felt Tiana's story in their bones. Her name was everywhere now. Montgomery couldn't let her go. Neither could her family. But one tribute stood out. A quiet post online, just a few lines. "She knew something," it said. "She tried to tell us. Now it's too late." No name, no details. Just those words, sharp, heavy, hanging there like a shadow in the light. Her dad saw it first. He was sitting at the kitchen table, scrolling through a sea of condolences, when those lines stopped him cold. His coffee sat untouched, growing cold as he read them again. And again. His heart raced. Was this real? A stranger's guess? Or something more? Hope and dread tangled inside him. Hope that it was a lead. Dread that it was too late. He wasn't the only one who noticed. The post spread like wildfire. Friends shared it, strangers tagged each other, and soon Montgomery was buzzing. What did she know? People asked. Who was she trying to reach? Some brushed it off as noise. Others latched on, their minds racing with possibilities. A local podcast picked it up. A true crime blogger started digging. The whisper grew into a roar. Tiana's friends felt it too. They replayed old talks, her laughter, her dreams. But now, her worries echoed louder. One friend remembered her saying, "I've got to fix this," but hadn't pressed her. Another recalled her looking distracted, checking her phone too often. Little things that seemed normal then, but now, they burned like warnings. Then, her best friend remembered something. A late-night call just days before. It was 1 a.m., and Tiana's voice was low, quick. "I'll tell you tomorrow," she said. "It's big." Her friend had laughed it off, thinking it was about school or a crush. Now that laugh felt like a ghost, haunting her with what she didn't know. The anonymous post, Tiana's words, that unfinished call. They were pieces of a puzzle no one could solve. Yet, but the community wouldn't let it rest. They pushed, they questioned, they refused to let her story fade. And then, the anonymous poster struck again. Another message. This time, with a detail only someone close to Tiana would know. It was small, but it was enough to make the police sit up and take notice. Tiana Dye's story doesn't end here. It's a jolt. A sharp, unshakable wake-up call that digs into your bones. We've traced her path from a bright spark lighting up every room to a life taken far too soon. A home that once held dreams became a shadow of secrets. A mother turned into a relentless force chasing answers. A community stood tall, refusing to let her fade. Yet the pieces we've uncovered, the strange steps of a roommate slipping into the dawn, the cryptic words posted in the dark, they still twist and turn, refusing to settle. The truth? It's out there, waiting, whispering her name. Think about it. Tiana's voice once filled the air, her laughter, her plans, her quiet hopes. Now it's carried by those who won't let her story slip away. Every unanswered call she made, every tribute left behind, every question that lingers, it's a thread pulling us closer to something bigger. This isn't just her fight anymore, it's ours. To listen when the silence gets too loud, to act when the shadows grow too close, to hold tight to the ones we love before another light dims. So what could have changed her fate? That's the question burning through all of this. Maybe it's in the choices we make, or the ones we don't. Share her story. Spread it far, let it echo. Say her name, say it loud, keep it alive. Dig into the details, talk about her, think about her. Let's make sure her light doesn't just flicker, it blazes. Because Tiana's cause isn't finished. It's growing, it's calling, and it needs every single one of us to answer. Take a breath, look around, take care of yourself and the people next to you. Every life deserves to be noticed. Every story deserves to be told. And every whisper Tiana left behind, it deserves to rise. Rise until it's a roar that shakes us all awake.